Welcome to the FanDuel Punch Out. I'm Jason Gilbo at JGilbo11. With me is Russell Clay at Russell J. Clay. Taking a look at the FanDuel slate starting at 7:15 and later, and a little bit easier processing as far as cash games go. You don't have to dive as deep, just because if you plug in Noah Syndergaard there, you got 2,900 left over, and on this slate, that's very doable.
Hold on 1 second here. I've known you for a while now. Do you have a punch out call? What's your punch out call look like? What's your strike three? What do you got here, pal?
I think I would do one of those dancing ones where I kind of wind up and then go.
Oh, you wind up and then you're out of here.
Yeah. Like I take maybe 2 to 3 steps to the left and make it dramatic as possible.
Okay.
I'm not going to quite enter the show like that as far as the FanDuel punch out and then just, if that's what you were going for, but it's not going to happen.
Oh, okay. I was just thinking, I always go with the strong forearm.
Oh, yeah, punch across the chest there. Yeah, that's a good one because you know what? One, I think it pisses off hitters, so you got to like that. These umpires nowadays, they just want to show you up, and that's a good one.
Of all the sort of ref type of material, in terms of sports, that's got to be the best part of being any ref, the strikeout call.
Oh, for sure. Especially the end of game.
Yeah.
You take a long, dramatic pause, think about it. Mm-hmm. That pitch was 3 feet off the plate, but I'm going to call it a strike anyway in this game because I want to go home.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's how it goes.
Definitely.
All right. Enough about that. Looking at tonight's 6-game slate here, and it's an interesting one just because it seems as far as there's maybe 3 weaker positions, and you kind of want to pay up. I mean, we talked about DK on first base on the DK, and we'll kind of break into that as we get in. But catcher, for me, I love Evan Gattis and GPPs tonight. 3,200, I like his catcher eligibility here. But Chris Herman is a guy who I'm looking at against Vargas, lefty, 3,200.
Definitely. I think those are 2 guys you're really looking at up top. Obviously, Cervelli against Darvish is a tournament guy only. This is a rough position. Kurt Suzuki, 2,100, but you can make it work. You know what I mean? Once lineups fully come out, maybe there's a cheaper guy in here. But I'm definitely going 100% Syndergaard on FanDuel tonight. So find some value there. It's pretty easy to do.
Yeah, and looking at cheap catcher, I think Chris Iannetta is the one that stands out to me just because of Phil Hughes. 340 wobble out to righties, 141 home runs per 9. So he'd be kind of that punt option that opens up some salary, and I don't necessarily hate that move.
Definitely.
So, yeah, I think it's pretty simple here. You're kind of sticking with those 3 guys. You either pay up, you got Herman Cash, Gattis GPPs. Herman obviously playable in all formats, or you can just punt to Iannetta.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
So, first base here, this one's a little bit different. And we talked about every one of these guys here is basically hitting under 250 or even under 220, and this is supposed to be your stronger position, and
yeah,
it's not. And I think it's okay to. We've ragged on Prince Fielder numerous times this season, but he's playable tonight against Nicosia.
Wait a second. Ragged and then rostered. So, yes, in some respects, ragged on. But you can't deny, based on his sort of historical splits, a lot of the times he's a good play right now. So you're just kind of hoping for him to turn it around. I think this is one of these slates where you can be a little more optimistic.
Well, you're going to have to be.
That's what I mean. Force that narrative into your brain for a second.
You're going to have to be optimistic about a lot of these guys.
Yeah.
But I think he's the guy I'm kind of paying down to. I'm not necessarily sold on Pujols at 36. That's a little too steep for me, even though he's shown some home run upside of late. Right. Goldie's kind of that guy. If you have the extra cash, I think you do toss him in just because he is. It has been not usually himself, but it's been the better of most of these first basemen here.
Yeah, again, historical data, you got to go with what Goldschmidt actually is, not what he's just been to the start of this season. So I think this will turn around at some point. It might take a few years, but hey, just keep playing him And no, I'm kidding. It should turn around quickly. I mean, he keeps getting these good matchups, so I'd fire him out there again today.
Yeah, and I like Adam Lind as well, 2,600. Didn't
Mm-hmm.
quite carry that same points per dollar value as DK, but worth an honorable mention here going up against Phil Hughes, who's been hit hard by both lefties and righties this season.
Definitely, and right there with Marwin. Probably like Lind more at his price, but I think Marwin's in play as well.
Mm-hmm. I'm moving to second base, and this one's a strong position because I'm looking at really those top four guys, and they're all certainly very playable for me. I like Segura as kind of a spin down option. That $1,000 difference from Cano's very playable, and I think it makes a bigger difference. But I think Cano's kind of that standalone top option up top.
Yeah, definitely agree there. Him and Goldschmidt. I love both of them. I'd probably go Cano over Goldschmidt tonight based on just the salary, not obviously the roster spot. But I think you're really only going to pay up for one of them. So I think that's the guy I'm looking at. And then you look down. If you do go Goldschmidt, I think you have a great option to stack with Segura here at 3,400.
Yeah, you can get a nice top of the lineup punch there.
Mm-hmm.
Looking cheaper, Neil Walker, 2,800 is the guy I liked on DK. And I think Might is an actual average target to look at tonight. I know this Mets team hasn't been great, but Might has been pretty poor of late. And this Mets team has already seen him, and they did give him some trouble in that first game. So
right,
I think at their price, I mean, certainly 2,800 is not bad. It's very playable.
Mm-hmm.
So anyone else? I mean, obviously Utley, guys like Harrison, 3,100 is a little bit steeper for me in that matchup. They both have.
Yeah, I mean, Neil Walker. Oh, I'm looking at second, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Neil Walker, baby, 2,800.
Yeah,
I'm in.
I literally just talked about him, but yeah,
that's fine.
Glad you're paying attention over there.
Yeah, no, I'm paying attention. Yeah, I'm still thinking about. I'm dreaming of your strikeout call right now. So, sorry, folks, I just disappeared for a second. We don't know where my brain just went, but it was gone.
It's May 28th, Russell. We're talking about a Saturday night slate that starts at 7:15.
I think my.
Would you like to join the rest of the class?
I think my brain just slowly walked out the door after first base. It was just like, ugh. we really doing this slate tonight? We are. Yeah. We are, and we're doing it with feeling. But yeah, so I think that's kind of what you're looking at down low. But I really think if you can, Segura makes that one mid-range guy. So I think you can get one of those top four pretty much regardless.
Yeah, me too. Third base here, it's up top is some favorable options. I like Kyle Seager at 3,900, but I like Escobar, but 35 seems a little bit steep for me. Against Keuchel, I'm not a big fan of Keuchel here on FanDuel. I think I'll target him more so here. But the price tag's a little heavier than I like. I kind of like Beltre and Wright for a little bit cheaper. And Jake Lamb as well at a similar price tag.
I'm always down to go Beltre. He hasn't shown quite that upside this year, but I think it's still there. So 3,400 for a third on a weeknight. Not in a perfect spot, but I think it's doable for him tonight to definitely hit value.
Yeah, me too. And I mean, there's not a lot of cheap options. I mean, Valbuena 2,800. I mean, a deep GPP play that can kind of set you apart.
Yeah. Sometimes Houston throws Colin Moran out there, 2,200. So.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's some value that's going to open up. I mean, Jorge Polanco could be a guy. Mm-hmm. But overall, I think David Wright's probably about as low as I'm going, and same with Beltre. And
agreed.
Those Diamondbacks bats are pretty in play too. So Jake Lamb,
definitely.
Shortstop here and a little bit different. I mean, I think the clear-cut top option, even though he hasn't been that way this season, has been still Correa at 39 against Weaver.
Mm-hmm.
Weaver, I mean, has struggled against right-handed bats. I mean, the home runs per nine has just been ugly. So, I mean, what can you say? I think you target some of these Houston guys tonight.
Also, it's important not to confuse Corey and Kyle Seager tonight because you don't want to play Corey Seager tonight, obviously against Syndergaard. So don't make that mistake.
Yeah,
I know I haven't, but I might have. I don't think I have, but I
Well,
might
the
have.
way you drifted in and out, I think you could have. I mean, you're on shortstop, but you're still building for third base.
Oh man. Alemedis Diaz, 3K, not in a perfect spot, but I think he's a decent play tonight just because the slate's so small.
Yeah, I'm with you. He's kind of that spin down option. I think he's a great GPP target. You look at Gio. I mean, yes, you mentioned it's not a perfect matchup, but it's not a lot for a lot of these guys here at shortstop, and I think it's very playable.
Gregorio Pettit, 2,300, been in the lineup, been doing all right, kind of hanging in there. So I think that's a decent punt you're looking at there.
Yep, I'm definitely with you. Outfield here, and this one's intriguing. I'm not necessarily inclined to pay up for some of those top bats. I mean, McCutcheon, they carried a little bit more points per dollar value with the dynamic pricing on DK. Marte did as well. I think Springer at 3,800 is kind of who you're really looking at as far as tonight's game goes.
Yeah, I think that's a fair price. Again, if you put Syndergaard in there, you only got 2,900 left overall. So that's sort of tough to manage one of those higher priced Trout guys. You'd really have to punt pretty much everywhere to fit him in, but yeah, I'm okay with that. And I mean Bryce Harper's down there too. Yep. 3,800. I'm in on that.
Yeah, you look at Wainwright, I mean, he hasn't been particularly well. I mean, either as Harper, but that's why that price is coming down. A couple other guys, I mean, Nomar Mazara is kind of my favorite outfielder on the slate. 3,500. I still think he's just at that mid-tier price tag on both sides, and you just lock him into your lineups right now. And the way he's hitting, Nicasio, I love these Texas Rangers lefties. 401 WOBA to lefty since 2014 from Nicasio, and it's certainly playable.
Yeah, I like that call a lot. He's pretty much, I mean, that's cash right there, right? Cash game for sure.
Yeah, and GPP wise, I don't care how chalky he is, which he'll probably be chalky, but the way he's hitting the ball right now, it's hard to really get him out.
As we mentioned, if you're going with a Cano, Kyle Seager lineup, Aoki 3,200, decent value.
Yep, him and Seth Smith both possess some decent points per dollar value there. Brand Drury's a guy I like at 2,600 going up against Vargas. I think this outfield there in Arizona, because you got Michael Bourne at 22, can open some real stuff up. And I don't mind paying down at outfield tonight. I think you can look at a Drury Bourne type lineup and maybe plug in a Mazara, and that rounds out pretty nicely for me, and you're not really paying up.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Wrap things up. Be sure to check out the fantasycafe.com for all our great tools and content.